Sam, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for doing this. As we said before we started recording, we both had some scheduling conflicts, but we did it. We made it. We are together. And so thank you. I'm so happy that you're here. It's so cool that you're here. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad we could finally work out time. And it's nice to be invited on.
Yeah. I know you had commented on my guitars when we first came on the video feed, and I made a joke that I am not an actual. People that don't play music think I'm a musician, but you actually, like, you can read music, you play piano, you're like a legitimate musician. You write sort of your own stuff. Do you actually write some of your own stuff, or are you strictly a golf composer, a golf song composer these days?
Well, you know what, I don't have all that much like sort of free time to write my own songs anymore. I mean, I wish I did, to be honest, but it's kind of, I have a sort of limited amount of time where I can kind of do my music stuff. And it used to be maybe playing around with ideas for original songs. And that's kind of been replaced with like golf stuff now. So.
Would you consider yourself a professional musician?
I suppose you could say semi-professional. I wouldn't say professional, because that would imply that I make my living playing music, which isn't true really. But
okay,
I suppose it's a kind of sideline. So yeah, semi-professional. Let's go with.
Fair. I always used to say when I used to get paid for playing music that technically that made me a professional.
I see. Like, so you must have reasonable guitar chops if you used to get paid for playing music, right?
Yes, a long time ago.
Once you've got it, you don't lose it. It's like riding a bike. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I still play as much, at least once a week, at minimum. I try to give myself an hour, only because I don't play out very often, but it's just good kind of for the soul, man. It's just like, this thing where it's nothing, there's nothing digital involved. It's just me and this guitar and just kind of takes your mind off of whatever it is that's going on.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. It's just, music is like, it's escapism really, in a way, isn't it? It's just, you take yourself out of everything, whatever it is, work or like anything that's stressing you out. And it's just something you can enjoy doing. And it just, it's always a de-stressor for me.
Yep. What bit you first, the music bug or the golf bug?
Oh, definitely the music bug, I would have to say. Or at least, I guess, my parents sent me for piano lessons when I was pretty young, before I ever picked up a golf club, I think. So,
okay.
There's something I really liked about playing the piano, and I was in like the school choir and things, which I used to really enjoy. And then, at some point shortly after that, I think I went to the pitch and putt with my parents, and I enjoyed that as well. But I guess maybe it's just I had more natural ability at music than I do at golf.
Is that a family kind of thing? Is like, are mom and dad musicians? Were other members of the family musicians?
Not massively, actually. I mean, my mum a little bit. She played piano a bit, and she used to play organ at the church and stuff. So yeah, I guess I probably got a little bit from her. And she used to like sing to me when I was little, but I suppose a lot of mums probably do that. But the rest of my family, not so much. I mean, my dad not at all, and my brother's not at all either. So,
really?
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't know what that is. So I'm also the only sort of quote unquote musician in the family. I guess, my stepdad can play. I mean, we're obviously not blood related, but he certainly had an influence when I was younger. He plays guitar and he was very, he would play guitar, but you'd never hear that guy sing. And he's just at whatever he is now, 70 years old, said, screw it. You're going to listen to my voice, whether you like it or not. And he's actually got a great voice, but I'm the only one too, that sort of got that sort of thing in my body. I didn't play guitar originally. I started with clarinet actually, in like, the sixth grade middle school band. I was certainly definitely one of the cool kids, right, in band with my clarinet.
Well, I can relate to that. So, I mean, I used to play. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
So I used to play cello at school.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So cello. cello, piano, and voice were kind of my three instruments. But yeah, cello was never was probably never the coolest instrument. And honestly, I didn't enjoy it so much as I do the piano. And I think it's because I quite like being able. What I like about the piano is being able to accompany myself. So I'm singing and I'm accompanying myself with the piano. You can't really do that with a cello, right? It's and it was never really, it never kind of bit me the same way that the piano did. So once I finished university, actually, I stopped playing the cello. And honestly, it's quite. I mean, you know what it's like. Again, you only have so many hours in a day. So in order to practice instruments, having three is just it was too much for me, really.
Now, was there ever a time where you weren't playing piano? Did you ever kind of give it a rest and give it a break, or has it always been like a constant in your life?
No, I mean, it's always been a constant, really. I mean, so I think I was 8 when I first started having piano lessons, and I kind of kept having lessons. And I did we have sort of a grade system over here where you pass exams. You grade 1, grade 2, and you get up to grade 8 is kind of like the top. So I did my grade 8, and then I went to university, and that was one of the instruments I was playing at university. And then once I finished there, I started sort of playing around, writing my own songs and things for a bit. And then I started getting a few gigs here and there, just kind of like piano and voice kind of solo gigs. So I did those for a few years. And then, so it's kind of always been there, really. And then I only obviously recently then I sort of started this weird golf music thing, but yeah.
Yeah. When did you, how did that sort of inspiration come to you with the golf music sort of combination? Was it just something you were noodling around one day on the piano and had an idea, or is it something that you kind of sought, like, I want to write a song about Tony Finau or, whatever?
It's weird, really. It was never really a conscious decision. Like I want to make golf and music a thing, It was just, I just got this weird idea in my head about, I'd watched I'd watched Tony Finau in the Phoenix Open when it looked like he was going to win, and then Webb Simpson won in the end, and it was another near miss for Tony Finau, and I just got that idea in my head to that. So I'm quite often playing around with kind of changing words to popular songs. I kind of do it with my friends and stuff, kind of, just mess around with things. So whatever reason, I got this little idea in my head with that REO Speedwagon song. And I thought, actually, you know what, this is, I can add in some funny little quips, and maybe my followers on Twitter, which wasn't very many at the time, might find it funny, So I just thought, what, I'll make a full kind of song out of it, try and make it a little bit witty, and I'll put it out there, and like 50 people can like it, and that'll be that. And it went huge, it's got shared so many times, and Tony Finau himself obviously commented, which made a huge difference to the kind of exposure of the song. It just reached so many more people after that, and then so because it had gone down so well, then I just did another one, and that went down well, so I did another one, and it just basically kept going, and it hasn't stopped since then.
I know now you're doing stuff for, like, did you do a US Open song, I want to say? And I think I saw that. Did you get invited to play at the PGA show this coming year? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So US Open, you're right. So I was contacted by them back in, I think it was April, and they said, we'd love to get you out to Torrey Pines. We're going to set up a little stage on the side of the course, and you can do some songs to, at the end of each day's play. I thought, is this a joke?
Right?
I couldn't believe it. And then because of kind of COVID and visa stuff, I couldn't actually go over there and perform. But they were still, fortunately, they were happy for me to do kind of a virtual performance. So I did 3 songs. I did one before the tournament. I did one sort of after the cut, and then I did one kind of a winner's song at the end for John Rahm. So that was amazing. I mean, it was amazing to be asked to do something like that by such a huge organisation. The USGA getting in contact with like little old me here in the UK. So and then so a lot more recently, the PGA show got in touch, and they said, we'd love you to we'd love you to do some stuff over here in Orlando for the show. which will be another, I'll be another great experience. But again, you know what, I try not to get too excited about these things because, especially with what's going on the last couple of weeks,
Sure.
It wouldn't.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world if COVID puts pay to that
Right.
trip. But we'll see.
Right. I know. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, we can get you over here and you can play. I mean, that's the coolest thing, man. And it's all through, like, I think sometimes social media gets this bad rap, right? But like, this is one of those good things that came out of social media. You threw some stuff out that's really fun and lighthearted and entertaining and being rewarded for it.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that almost surprises me most about this is that I put out these videos. I must have done about 20 now, and 99.9% of the reaction is really positive and encouraging, and everyone's been like amazing about it, really. And it's so rare actually that I get any kind of any sort of negative stuff, and I feel lucky about that because I know social media can be quite toxic, and I'm not the most thick-skinned person, so that's been a surprise. That's been a welcome surprise, I have to say.
Yeah.
And obviously, so social media for me has been a huge positive thing because just that little idea I had and recording it has led to all these amazing opportunities. So yeah, it's awesome.
When you it's such an interesting thing because it's kind of like if I deconstruct some of your songs, right? Like you have this challenge where I feel like, anyways, maybe this is not the case, but you take a song that has to be relatively well known within pop culture, and you have to also have a topic or a person that is sort of known in the golf world, and make those work together. So do you have sort of a list of things, or how do you sort of, decide on how a song, and because you could do a parody song and people wouldn't know that it was a parody if they weren't familiar with the melody of the song, right?
That's right. Yeah. And I think I don't know. I mean, I think once I'd done that first one, and it was obviously I took a pretty well-known song. I think a lot of people knew that song, or at least people of kind of our kind of age, at least,
right?
Or certainly knew that song. And so obviously that worked. So I thought, okay, I just need to pick relatively popular songs, and then I don't know. I guess I kind of have, because my work is I work for a music publisher. I kind of have built up a slightly encyclopedic knowledge of kind of pop music. So
yeah,
there's a lot of songs kind of in my brain, kind of going around all the time. So whenever I have an idea about a player or anything, then there's generally I can kind of pick through a certain number of songs that might be suitable. So I can generally find something that's going to work. But yeah, I mean, it's finding a song that's relatively well known, and then obviously for whatever reason I can kind of sometimes it's as simple as replacing the player's name in a particular moment in the song. Like the best example is probably Penny Lane, and I did Benny Arm. Whereas sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's not like that at all. So I mean, a Tony Finau one, that could have been anyone. That could have been anyone's name in that slot, really.
Sure.
As long as it had been 4 syllables, I guess. So sometimes it's just a song that I know and I know sounds good. Because the other thing to factor in, of course, is songs that sound good on the piano, right? Because people have said, "Oh, you could do this song by I don't know, like Metallica or something." I'm like, okay, fine, but it's not going to sound great,
right?
For me on the piano, So I always have to think, okay, is it going to sound good on the piano? Can I play it on the piano? I mean, I can't do anything that's too tricky,
Sure.
And obviously, I'm singing at the same time, so again, it can't be too intricate. And then it's kind of finding the right song for that player or storyline.
Yeah. I think, it's kind of funny. The part of it being sounding good on a piano, I didn't even think about that. Like, yeah, but like some stuff I would love to play on guitar, or an acoustic, right? And kind of convert it into some sort of campfire version, but it doesn't always work.
It doesn't always work. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you can take a song, really strip it back and retain its kind of appeal, but other times it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the other thing too is the danger of changing the song where it isn't necessarily recognizable like you'd want it to be, and then it kind of you miss the point anyways. But
That's
yeah.
right.
So let's talk about golf a little bit. When you mentioned before, when you were younger, you went to the pitch and putt with mom and dad or whatever, but talk about just how you initially back in the day fell in love with golf.
Yeah, so it really does go back to that. It goes back to the pitch and putt, really. I mean, those are sort of my most of my favorite days out with my parents. I think when I was younger, when we go to the pitch, but it wouldn't happen all that often, but maybe we go like once a month or something. And that's something I always liked about the kind of. I think what I liked about golf then, and what I still like now, is that every time you go to a golf course, it could be your best round yet, right? It could be your personal best round, or you could hit your best shot ever, or maybe you could get your first hole in one, which I still haven't had. So there's always something new to aim for. However you're playing or whatever, there's always that potential that you could do something you've never done before. You can improve on that, and I think I just like that kind of the personal challenge of golf. But also, I like playing with friends. Normally when I play now, I go out with friends, and I like kind of just spending a few hours with friends. On a golf course, it's just a fun way to spend a few hours, I think. So it's partly that, just that kind of. Again, a bit like music, it's kind of an escapism, especially if you're on a course that's kind of maybe a bit off the beaten track, and it's very serene, isn't it? And it's just it's kind of just takes you away from everything, from the sort of hecticness of daily life. So I think it's that combined with the slight competitive nature in me that I feel like I want to not necessarily beat another person, but beat my own my own personal best or whatever, which I like about it.
Yeah, I've always compared. I think there are a lot of parallels to me between music and golf, in which, like you kind of mentioned it, there's never perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. And quite honestly, even in music, like I guess you have to be careful when I say this, but there's never anything as for me, like I've played bad shows, right? Or at least what I felt was a bad show, but never enough to stop playing, and I've had bad rounds of golf, but never bad enough where I'm like, I'm done with this game. Like, it's just actually, there's always the next show or the next round that kind of keeps you, eternal optimism or internal optimism going for you.
Exactly. I mean, I've definitely got closer to giving up golf than I have music. Again, I think that just comes back to natural ability, or shall I reference? But yeah, absolutely. I think there's it always makes you want to come back for more. I think both music and golf.
Yeah. Did you ever play competitively?
Oh God. No. I mean, I really, I can't stress this enough. I'm not a good golfer. I love the game, and I love going out and playing, but I'm not, certainly not. I've ever played competitively, and I will never. I'm at peace now with the fact that I'm not a good golfer, and I never will be.
Right.
I'm happy to just do, to go out there, if I break 100, that's generally where I'm kind of hovering around. So anytime I'm in double digits, I'm happy pretty much nowadays.
Right. Yeah. I never played competitively either. I never really, I played did you play other sports at all competitively, or was it just music and school? And
no, I mean, I play tennis. I'm a member of a tennis club now, actually.
Okay.
And I don't play competitive. Even with that, I don't play competitively, to be honest. I just go along, a couple of times a week, and to like that club day. But no, I've never really played competitively in any sport. Back maybe in school, I played a little bit of competitive, football, basketball. But no, not since then.
Okay. Do you remember even back when being a kid? So like your parents would take you out or whatever. Do you remember what sort of, was it just the social aspect or the challenge of it that grabbed you when you were that young?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I myself and so I've got two brothers, who are one and 2 years older than me. So, we're very close in age, and we've always been, I think maybe because we're so close in age, we've always been quite competitive with one another. So I think it was partly that, that the three of us would be going out there with our parents, and we'd be trying to beat each other, and yeah. So I think it was partly that, but it was just ultimately a fun day out. I really enjoy sports generally, just playing sports, and that's golf, that's tennis, that's lots of sports, to be honest. So any occasion where I can go out and do that for a few hours is one of my favorite things to do. So
yeah, it's kind of funny. I have younger brothers. I'm the oldest of three brothers. We're also pretty close in age. And when I talk about my sort of golf origin story, it's because they decided to get good at golf. Like they were like they decided without me. I didn't know this was going to happen. They live in Arizona. My family moved to Arizona a long time ago, and I went to visit. And they're like, "Let's go play golf." And we had gone out to play golf before, right? But it's just kind of like whatever. Let's go out and screw around and hit some balls. And I get out there, and they're shooting in the 80s.
All right,
like they're flirting with the 70s. I'm like, wait, when did this happen? So sure enough, when I came home, that was it. Like straight to the range, I got to go and work on this stuff and figure it out. And I was probably, I was in my late 20s, early 30s at that point. And that's kind of, but yeah, I quickly fell in love with it. But it's funny how that competitive spirit will drive it. And kind of similar to you is, now my favorite stories are the stories that I tell about golf, may or may not include a golf shot. It'll include who I was with, what we talked about, that kind of stuff. And I don't know if is that something that comes with age, you think?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I still have funny memories that aren't necessarily related to hitting a great shot or anything. Like I still remember to this day going to one of these pitch and putt trips, actually with my granddad. And he hit a shot, and the ball, he was never very good either, like me, but the ball literally went straight up in the air, and I'm talking vertically straight up in the air, and it came down, and it went basically through his jacket, behind his neck, if you like, and then down his arm, and then it broke his watch strap, and then it came onto the floor. I mean, it's just one of those things you couldn't possibly imagine it could possibly happen. But yeah,
it's like one of the original trick shots.
Yeah,
if only you had an Instagram account to capture.
Well, if you can repeat that, right?
Oh man, yeah. I guess it sort of, to your point of coming to terms with our level of play. You kind of like, yes, I keep score. I always keep score, and I always want to play better. But at the end of the day, when I walk off, like I'm not going to measure the day by if I broke 100, if I broke 90, you know what I mean? Like it's a nice to have. It's not necessary for my day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I've been lucky enough to play some really good courses this year. Some of the best courses that I've certainly ever played. I've never really played particularly well on them. I played at Prince's Golf Club, which is right next to Royal St George's, where the Open was this year.
Oh wow!
It's obviously a links course, and it's pretty tough. And I wasn't playing. I wasn't playing well at all that weekend. And we've been going out till late and drinking and stuff. So I don't have much sleep. That never really helps. But so I played. So I played really badly, but it was such an amazing course, and I was there with friends, and we hadn't seen each other for so long, that it really didn't matter. Back in the day, probably when I was in my 20s, if the same thing had happened, I would have come back and I would have been cursing how badly I played, and it probably would have hurt for a few days, to be honest. But honestly, this time I was just like, it was just, it really didn't bother me at all.
Yeah. It's kind of funny you bring up playing some golf courses, some significant golf courses in your area. I guess, what is it like? What time of day is it there? Is it, I don't know, 3 a.m. or something, I assume? I don't know.
Oh, no, no, it's only just gone 8 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know how that works. Time is just a social construct. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, are you a golf trip guy? Like, do you do trips like that, or try to get to some bucket list courses, in Europe?
Well, you know what? So I hadn't done for a long time. So when I not long after I first kind of properly took up golf, or at least started playing regularly with my group of friends, when I was probably in my mid-20s, and
Okay.
we had a golf trip in Brittany in France, North France, which is really cool,
Hmm.
just like a long weekend. And then we did the same again in Spain, in the Costa del Sol in Spain. And they were great trips, really good. I really love those sort of things. We play some nice courses, not like ridiculously nice courses, but nice courses.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have much money, to be honest, so we couldn't
Yeah.
afford anywhere crazy. But I hadn't done any of those type of things until this year, really, for a good probably 12 years, I reckon, since
Oh,
that.
wow.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was really looking forward to doing that again. And obviously, this one was relatively local, and it was a UK trip. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, I'll be able to do more of those kind of things. I mean, I'm hoping, to be honest, I'm hoping, if I do get to go out to the PGA show next month, that I'm hoping to play a couple of courses there. A couple of people have reached out and offered to help, to help host me on some pretty nice courses.
Oh, fun.
So yeah, Lake Nona has been mentioned, so I'm hoping that one comes.
Have you played in the States before?
Um, I have, but so I went. My parents used to go out to the villages in Florida. I
Okay.
don't know, like kind of retirement. It's basically
Yeah.
a retirement place that's got tons of golf courses on it. And I went out. This was probably, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Went out over Christmas, and I played a couple of the courses there with my mum. But yeah, that's it. That's the only time I've played.
Okay.
And they weren't, again, they weren't sort of brilliant courses. They were just, kind of cheap courses that they had on the villages. But so it'll be a new experience, really, if I do get to play some courses while I'm out there, and one that I'm hoping will happen.
Yeah. The grass is weird in Florida. I'll just
Is it?
for a Midwesterner, and I'm sure for like I'm in Chicago. I don't know. I'm not a grass expert or anything, but like it's just like stickier or something. I don't know. It's
Right.
different. It's different grass, and as long as you're sort of used to that, because I just remember playing even the way that your club kind of goes through the ground. To strike the ball feels different. Let alone what the ball does when it hits, the grass or the green. Yeah. So I thought I'd give you a heads up there, but
Yeah.
if you played it, then for the
Well,
most
kind
part,
of.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a grass expert either, but I don't. When I was out there before, I don't remember feeling like, oh, this is so different to what I'm used to. But then, it may be different if I go and play a course that's like really, that's really well looked after.
Yeah, the super manicured ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah. So what do you have planned? I know you like, I remember talking to you when we were scheduling this kind of thing up, and like, you don't really plan your songs out, do you? You just kind of like, you just sort of have some things that you're working on. And then when you feel like it's ready, do you kind of go, or do you wait for like an event to occur and then sort of have something in your back pocket ready to go? How do you sort of
Yeah.
develop these songs and the timing?
Well, it's sort of both, actually, to be
Okay.
honest. So sometimes I do have a certain event in mind. So shortly after I did that first Tony Finau song, I was like, well, okay, who do I do one about next? And I was like, well, Phil Mickelson is my favorite player. I've got to do one about him, right? And I knew that the US Open was coming up, and I thought, well, that's the perfect narrative, right?
Right.
Tying the whole US Open thing. But then, of course, that was postponed.
Right.
But I'd already written it, and it was to do with the US Open, so I just had to hold on to that one until it came about, which ended up being September. So that one I kept in my pocket until that time came around. And then likewise, when I going through who I want to do a song about a few months ago, I thought, well, I'd like to do one about Harry Higgs.
I was going to ask about the Harry Higgs song. Yeah.
So I knew that his 30th birthday was coming up. So I thought, you know what, I'll hold on and I'll just do it as like a little, a little birthday nod. So again, I kept that one in my back pocket for probably 3 months, I reckon, after I kind of finished writing it. But then other times it's just something happens, and I want to get one out really quick. Like for example, Brooks and Bryson. When that beef first like properly kicked off with the leaked video, I thought I had to do something really timely. So I just came up with something very quick then and put it out about 24 hours later. So sometimes it is very much spur of the moment. Well, maybe it's not that quick sometimes. And sometimes something might happen or an idea comes in my head and I just put it out a couple of weeks later when I'm done with it, when I've done kind of polishing it, basically.
Yeah.
It really does vary depending on what's going on in the world of golf and who I want to do a song about, basically.
Yeah. Who do you listen to from a musical perspective, just kind of for, entertainment? Or do you have like a favorite band or performer or anything like that?
Yeah, I do. So I'd say Ryan Adams is one of my all-time favorites.
Okay. Yeah.
And Bruce Hornsby, I really like, which is probably more, I guess, my sort of style, the kind of piano and singing thing. But varied. I mean, nowadays, in terms of kind of, more kind of current acts, I really like Bon Iver. Yeah, I like it, but they're quite varied. I mean, I like some dance music. There's a French DJ producer called Madian who I really like. I like some hip hop. I mean, I really like Tupac back in the day. So yeah, quite varied.
Really?
Quite varied, yeah. So there's a lot of different things that I enjoy for depending on my mood or whatever. So it does vary.
So have you tried? Be honest. Have you tried to play Tupac on the piano?
Well, I have played Changes, which of course is it samples the Bruce Hornsby song, so it probably doesn't really count. But a friend of mine actually, it's my best friend's 40th birthday this year, and his sister decided to put together this video for him, and they wanted me to close it out by doing the Changes kind of chorus, if you like.
Really?
I did sort of relearn that for that purpose, but yeah.
Is there an artist that you just love to play? Maybe you're not but you just find their stuff to be just really good and fun on the piano. Because there are some songs on the guitar that I'm not a huge fan of whoever, but like it's just a fun song to play in general.
Right. Well, I mean that is definitely Bruce Hornsby for me, because his songs are just great on the piano. He has some really cool like kind of solo lines and just some really nice like hooks, but some of it is quite hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is fun, man. I really do appreciate you coming on here. I'm looking forward to. I hope that you get to Orlando. I'm not going to be able to get to Orlando this year, but I hope you can really. I don't know what kind of advice to give you for the PGA show. It is a thing, man. It's a something. It's a lot. It's a lot. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very new experience for me if I do get out there. I mean, I've only seen kind of the pictures that I've seen and what I've read, but it seems like it's huge, right?
And especially like someone. So I can go and sort of. I don't have any obligations per se. Like I don't have to play piano on the stage or anything like that, or get pulled in. I'm sure you're going to get invited to some after parties, which are always they're fun. You talk about staying out too late and then coming back the next day. Things can get out of hand if you're not careful. But there is some.
Imagine. Yeah,
there is some. But there's a really fun. I'll tell you this. I don't know why there aren't more people there during the PGA show, but there's a really fun little 9-hole golf course. If I remember it, I will send it to you. I'll send you a link, but it's lit up. It's a night. You can play it at night.
Oh, nice.
It's really fun. It's really fun. We went every night. We'd usually run it 2 or 3 times because there's no one out there.
Is it a pitch and par? Is it a full size course?
No, you can play. It's probably, a 3 club golf course, right? It's like a par 3 golf course. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
You have to send me that link, because that's the sort of thing I'd love to do. And I've never done sort of night golf before as well. So that's something that, I've seen I've seen pictures of it online, like in Dubai and stuff. But
Yeah.
I want to try that. Yeah.
No, it's super cool. And it's like, I don't know. I like the sort of, local municipal style. Don't get me wrong. I will play a fancy and well-maintained golf course, but there's something to be said about just like, throwing a ball down on the ground and just,
Definitely.
it's a good time. Yeah. But it's what you walk it, and it's super cool. I will send you that. I'll find it and I'll send you that. I want to say it's like Orange Lakes or something like that, but
right. Okay.
Whatever. I'll find it and send it to you. But thank you, man. I do appreciate this. This is a fun conversation. I'm so glad that we were able to do this. Yeah.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on, and all the best for all the best for 2022. Let's have a good year.
Why not? We're due for a good year. Damn it.
We certainly are.